Welcome back to another video, guys. We're so happy to have you here. Thanks so much for your support and for your continuous, love and messages. And we hope that you enjoyed today's video. And I am here today with Norhan.
Yes, and I'm a youth career coach and I help young adults create a thriving and successful life.
You heard it, thriving and successful life. And I am Allison. I am a subconscious mindset coach, and I help people align their conscious mind and their subconscious mind so they can achieve whatever goal they have in their life. Now, if you don't know anything about the subconscious mind or how does it align to your conscious mind, that's what I'm here for. So you can contact me, the link in our channel. And if you want a quick tool to help you start reprogramming your subconscious mind, I would recommend this book, Algodon. It's a tool that I wrote so that you can effortlessly reprogram your subconscious mind every single day for a whole year. And today we are going to be discussing, let's see, one of the programming for one of the areas of life, the spiritual area of life. So let's see. And it reads,
Why is God so good to me?
why is God so good to me? I love that.
Yeah.
It seems very generic, but when you really think about it, it's really not. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I remember reading a quote about whether we are living in a friendly or hostile universe.
Friendly or hostile, okay.
Yeah. So, and then it buys into that one.
Yeah.
Do I feel that I'm supported and whatever I'm going through is for my highest good or not?
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was what came to my mind right away. Because when I looked into my programming, there was a lot of punishment involved. Right. So that part where, hey, if you don't behave, you're going to be punished.
Right.
Right. So it's like, okay, what is the relationship there? And once I discovered that, I was like, no, I don't really want to live with that belief and with that programming.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that came to me. So the question is, do we live in a friendly or hostile universe? Is God good to us or not?
I think like a lot of people can say, well, I don't agree with like the statement of God is good to me because this, and that has happened to my life, right? Like the punishment or diseases or lacking or just anything for that matter, right? And we tend to kind of like question God and say like, why aren't you good to me? Like, what have I done, right?
Yeah.
However, when you put into your subconscious mind, why is God so good to me? You're going to, if you study God's character, first of all, right, you see how he, even through challenges, even through punishment, he is good to you. He is gracious to you, right? Because, for example, take a look at like parents, right, and their kids. If the kid does something wrong or something bad to you, for example, right, or to myself, and then you're like, whoa, that wasn't right. That was very disrespectful. Their parents need to tell you something, right? So then it's kind of like, if their parents didn't tell the kid anything, how would that make you feel, right? It's like, who is not punishing, but who is guiding this person to know what's good and what's wrong, right? If it goes unnoticed, then it's kind of like, why, right? Like, this kid did this to me. Of course, you can say, okay, it's just a child. I'll forgive them, XYZ. But that kid's gonna grow up to know that it's okay to disrespect others, right? To not be able to control their character, their emotions, and so on and so forth. And so it's the same thing with God. He is our Father in heaven, and when we how do I put this? When we don't sit in the quiet, in the stillness, and we don't hear His voice, then it's kind of like, okay, you didn't listen. This is what's going to happen. And it's not just like, oh, God is punishing me, right? But it's also your mentality that because you attract and you manifest what goes through your mind, right?
Exactly.
So when you're stressed out, it manifests as illness or like something in your life, right? And so it's the same thing. It's kind of like you didn't listen to your purpose from your creator, so then something has to happen. There always has to be a cause and effect, right? A consequence to something. So I feel like the challenge for most people is this question when they're actually going through challenges and quote unquote struggles, because the only reason why you might be struggling with something is because you haven't found the purpose. Like once you're aligned with your purpose, everything runs smooth, right?
Yes.
And once you're aligned with like your mind and your feelings and your body and your being, you're running along and you're on track with your purpose, everything's smooth. Your feelings are smooth, your mind is smooth, like everything just runs its course the way it's supposed to, because that's what you were meant to do. That's how you were created, right? But when you're not aligned with your purpose, or you're not aware of like the purpose that your creator has for you, then that's where people, experience the manifestation of like illness, disease, and stress, and like it's not aligned, right? And so then that issue can then come across as like, God is not being good to me. But in fact, He is being good to you, right? He's actually being gracious to you, right? Because He's letting you have that opportunity of like reflecting, because you don't go to the doctor until you actually manifest the symptoms, right? So you won't go to God until you actually manifest the issues that you're having, right? And so when you go to the doctor and you say, hey, like this is what's going on, like let's give me something so that I can calm down the symptoms and whatnot, then it's like you take a course of action to stop the symptoms, right? And so then God is kind of like telling you like, hey, and then you turn around, you're like, why is this happening to me? Like, you're not being good to me. And God is like, no, I'm trying to give you, like a doctor, I'm trying to give you what's going to soothe you. But we try to be like rebellious, or if we don't listen, or if we can't like connect with Him, we can't hear. But in reality, it's like God is good to you. He is always good to you. No matter what you're going through, He's probably using that situation to attract you to Him, which is totally normal to be connected to your creator, right? It's like, you have a device, an Apple computer, right? And if it starts acting up or it's not charging or whatever, what do?
Repair it.
Where do you take it?
To Apple.
To its manufacturer, to its creator, right?
True.
Yeah. So when something's wrong with you, you're not charging, you're stressed, why are you going to other places and not your creator?
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love that, because that comes back to everything is within yourself. And it's very important to me to mention that it's nothing separate from us. No, we're an extension of that creation of
we're made in His image.
So that's the part. It's like just spirit walking through that physical body. And so it's nothing which is outside of ourselves. It is within ourselves, and knowing that divinity is always pulsing. So it's always there. It's always there. And that's what you meant by, are you listening? Are we quiet enough? Are we getting, or are we so distracted through all the noise around us? And so that's basically the point, where it's I would say the conditioning and the programming around also the term God, you know, so it's also very important to acknowledge whether you believe in that term or not. Call it divine intelligence, call it source, call it universe, call it energy, like divine energy, whatever it is, but there is a life force within ourselves.
Bigger, much bigger.
Much
than us.
bigger,
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, much bigger than this body, much bigger than this little mind, because hey, it's when the mind is very active and very loud, it feels like that's the biggest part, right? That's the point. It's like, oh, it's
well, your mind is is the master of your trillions and trillions of cells that you have, you know.
So it's much bigger. And I always like the analogy of looking outside, for example, into nature, and then we had that one time with the trees. It's like, okay, the leaves are falling off the trees, and then a new cycle comes in, and then they are growing and they are strong and they are resisting the wind and all that, storms and what. So
divinely orchestrated.
Exactly. That's the point. And I love also the analogy of who's letting my hair grow, right? It's like it happens, right? So it happens.
It's
so
like your heart's beating, you know.
My heart is beating. Our hearts are beating.
We're breathing,
breathing. So all of that, there is a life force within each and every one of us, and it's so important. And that's what you meant by if you're not living in your purpose. So that's the disconnection we experience, right?
Yeah, because if you don't spend time alone in that solitude, your subconscious won't be able to be activated, first of all, right? And so you need to be just sit in silence and kind of like disconnect from all of the old programmings that you've had, that you've been installed, that you've been programmed to believe, you know, little things, like every single little thing that you think is a fact or is an idea, like start asking yourself, well, who taught me this? Where did it come from? Who then that person, okay, this person taught me this. Who taught that person? And then who taught that person? And then who taught, and then next thing you know, it's like you're carrying so much baggage that it's best to just, you know what? You know, I want to cut all that up and all that off and just focus on my solitude for a minute, listen to what my purpose is. Because you have a fervent desire to do something, whatever it is, whether it's a talent, you're painting, you're a musician, you're whatever it is, we all have a talent. We've talked about this before. And that is the talent that God gifted you. And so that is the purpose that he gave you, right? And so, but if you're just occupied by all the noise, like Norhan mentioned and stuff, it's like you're not going to be aligned. You're not going to be, you know, you're going to be distracted by it and not fulfill your purpose. But versus when you actually listen to your subconscious mind and you actually listen to what you have within yourself, your talents, you know what you're good at, you know what brings you joy, you know what feels good to you, and you pursue that, then it's like you're aligned. You're so beautifully aligned. And then, interestingly enough, when everything's going well, we're like, God is so good to me. But we don't tend to say that when we're not aligned, right? And that, I feel like that's the challenge. Who teaches you that? Who taught you that? Who, you know, why? Who came up with that idea? Of true. Like when things go wrong, oh, God must be upset at you, or he must be mad at you, like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, that's absolutely, that's comes back to experiencing contrast. No? That's like the opposite of being aligned, no? Be feeling good, being in that frequency and that vibration where you feel like you're at peace, first of all, and also balanced. Right. So it's like body, mind, and spirit are all balanced, and you feel that lightness,
Mm-hmm.
right? So coming
Yes.
coming to the purpose of
Oh,
Algadon.
the title, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I came.
Someone asked me how did I come up with the title, and I said, okay, so algodón means cotton in English, and cotton is like, I wish I could have brought the little plant. It's a plant, right? So it's white, it's light, fresh, and airy. It's a luxurious fabric. It's a fabric of quality that you can wear. And I think that I truly believe that once people start reading algodón, their life will reflect that, just being light, fresh, and airy, and of quality, being luxurious, you know. And so, yeah, just kind of going back to your point, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the aligned part, and where you feel that it's
Airy,
like
yes.
airy, you're light, you know, like and then the other part where it comes to things are not going well and we're facing challenges, it's like the opposite, heaviness, confusion, and
Yes.
all of that in terms of contrast. But it's actually teaching us. It's actually, as you were saying, you know how I see that analogy of it's giving you like a hint, you know, to wake up. It's more, I feel always like my soul is knocking on the door.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, hey, stop
Yeah.
pressuring yourself. Stop that negative self-talk. You know, you're worthy, you're whole, you're beautiful, you're talented, you know, you're smart, intelligent, all of that, right? Loving. So you all have it. So start with treating yourself like this instead of
Absolutely.
having that self-talk. So whenever contrast shows up, where what we see as something bad is happening to us, it's actually telling us that we are going against our purpose, right? We're going against our true self. And then it's like, are you gonna get more mad and more upset?
What's your reaction to
and
it?
what's your reaction? And resentful and
Yes.
frustrated? Or are you gonna say, thank you?
Why is God so good to me?
Yeah, thank you
Yep.
for bringing that challenge for me to reflect on it. But
Yes.
hey, that's the whole point of reprogramming the subconscious mind, and in general algadon and well-being, and knowing the program and conditioning our life is running with, is actually becoming aware.
Yeah.
And it all starts there.
That's the first step.
And I truly believe the moment where we don't have any conflict with, it's also what the mind labels as good and bad.
Yeah.
It's not neither or. It's all an experience. Once we truly can be like neutral,
non-reactant.
non-reactant.
I think that's when that you show emotional intelligence when you're not reacting to certain situations.
Yes.
And when you, because it speaks a lot, like how you're going to react to a certain situation, right? Like if you're struggling with it, well, this goes into another area of life, right? Your intellectual life and your emotional life, because then they're all connected, right? But let's just focus on the spiritual life. Like Noreen was saying, you know, it's you have to find your true self, like your purpose. And how do you do that? Reprogramming your subconscious mind, because you're carrying so much unnecessary things that are weighing you down and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Like you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see the whole baggage that you have. But if you were able to see yourself in a spiritual mirror, you know, like how many things you would just be like, you know what?
Yeah. I don't need that. Yeah.
And once you start doing that, like start like feeling, you'll realize and you'll notice immediately how light and fresh and airy your life starts to be, unbothered.
Yes.
Just being yourself, you're individual. That's where the word individual comes from. You know, you're an individual. You're independent from everything that's going on around you. You know, you're not dependent of any circumstance, right? Like just try to focus on what your mind is trying to tell you, what God is even speaking to you, and watch why and how God is actually really good to you through everything that you're going through, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
Like, give me chills.
Yeah, me too. And it's also important to always remember that it's it's something I see it as a field, like
Yeah.
it's like there are researchers as well, like for example, Joe Dispenza did a lot of research in terms of the mind, and it's really like it's a quantum field,
Yeah.
that, and then you can tap into it. It's coming from physics and vibration and frequency, because we are energy. So it's really like tapping into that field and the bigger picture. So
Yeah.
that's also a muscle to train, I believe, and to practice, to see, hey, wait a minute, I am not my thoughts, I am not
Yeah.
my emotions, I'm the one who is thinking that.
Yeah, I think it's important to observe and not absorb.
Yeah, and who is
know?
feeling that.
Mhm.
So I remember when I first heard years ago now, okay, let's say you're mad, and then it's like, and you think I'm a mad person. It's like, wait a minute,
What caused this?
yeah, who is feeling that madness? Who
Yeah.
is feeling that anger? That's the part. That's spirit within yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So,
it's even like, the more you practice being mad, then the more you're gonna put that into your programming, and then it becomes a trait in your character, and then people call you, oh, you're always mad, when in reality you never wanted to be that,
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, let's be aware, and that's the first step, guys. Let's be aware and focus on, whatever it is that you're going through. Just focus on, like, just like how we talked about on another video, the quantum field. You
Yeah.
focus on, you zoom in, you want to see an electron poop, and then it pops up, right?
Yeah.
So focus on and seeing why God is good to you, and then just watch your life just be light, fresh, and airy.
Yeah, and transformed.
Yeah, so we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks so much for staying till the end, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.